Good morning, students of class 10. So we have to continue the respiration process today. Let's see how respiration occurs in plants and animals. Respiration in plants. As you know, they have totally each and every part of the plants respires by the simple diffusion method. The roots respire through their root hairs from the soil. Stems of the herbs, small plants, they respire through a tiny opening called stomata, and in trees it is done by lenticels, whereas in the leaves they have tiny pores called stomata. Now let's see the figure. Here the roots of the plants have root hairs that provide large surface area to diffuse the oxygen through this. So roots particularly, they absorb the oxygen dissolved in soil with water, and here the stems of the herbs and the leaves have provision of tiny pores like stomata. Whatever you see in this figure, the gaseous exchange takes place through these pores. Whereas the large plants, the trees, have opening called lenticels, which is larger in size. Now, respiration in animals. Animals are of various types. They are unicellular and multicellular. So the unicellular organisms have done respiration by simple diffusion method through their cell membrane, as in amoeba, bacteria, paramecium, and so many other unicellular organisms which have only one cell body. But in multicellular organisms it is not so. In insects they have a well network of tracheal system, and they have a tiny holes provided with them called spiracles. Now see the figure here. These are the spiracles, the insects which have spiracles in their bodies through which gaseous exchange takes place, and it is the tracheal system which is connected to these spiracles. Okay, now the earthworm, the gaseous exchange takes place through moist skin. Moist skin. Earthworm and leech, they take respiration through moist skin. And in fishes they have well provided gills, a pair of gills through which they take gaseous exchange from the dissolved oxygen in water. Fishes, gaseous exchange takes place by gills through dissolved oxygen in water. They take only the dissolved oxygen in water. Now, respiration in human beings. So, human beings is multicellular and well-developed organism. The respiration process is taken place in a step-by-step method. First of all is external respiration, which is also called breathing. And in breathing we have a gaseous exchange, inhalation and exhalation of gases. Inhalation means we take in oxygen rich air inside our lungs through the nostrils, and exhalation means giving out carbon dioxide rich air from the same passage. Whereas the second part is the cellular respiration, which is taken place inside the cell of the body, where the oxidation of the food to release energy for other activities. So now, further going to the details, let's see what are the organs present in human respiratory system. A pair of nostrils and the mouth cavity joined to a common passage called pharynx, and after that there is a bifurcation Here the bulging out larynx and the tube where the voice box is there. Through this passage, then it goes the windpipe or the trachea, and after that it bifurcates to the two portions, the tracheoles, then bronchi and bronchioles, and to the two lungs. Inside the lungs there is a many balloon-like structures called alveoli or the air sacs, which are readily supplied with the blood capillaries to perform the gaseous exchange whatever you have in the lungs. Now let's explain the breathing mechanism. For breathing mechanism, you have two processes, inhalation and exhalation. In inhalation, the process of oxygen is taken in through nostrils, and during the process, the ribs moves. The rib cage moves upwards and outwards due to contraction of the intercostal muscles, and the diaphragm. Here the diaphragm is the muscular chamber which pushes downward during inhalation, and the volume of thoracic cavity increases, and as a result the air is forced inside the lungs through nostrils. Whereas in exhalation, the carbon dioxide exhaled out through the lungs from the nostrils. During this process, the rib moves inwards and the diaphragm comes back to its original shape, the diaphragm, and the volume of the thoracic cavity decreases and the air is forced out through the lungs.